and that violent targeting of our communities for decades, that ain't new either. There's more. So, by pushing these images out to the public on the White House page, that must make it real, right? That's got to make it real. Here's what's happening. They're shaping the perception and telling the nation who to fear. They want old white ladies to continue to clutch their purses in public and lock their doors, justifying future crackdowns. That's what they're doing too. I want you to understand that this is actually planting the seed that an increase in police and military presence in black neighborhoods.
Brothers and sisters, welcome back to this channel. In today's video, and I'll be back with a commentary on the same. Thank you.
Hey y'all, so earlier today, I made a video talking about the police presence in black neighborhoods in DC and the targeting of those neighborhoods. And within that, I had a clip and there was a guy and he was talking about all the people presence that was out there. So he's like, oh, DEA, the police. He goes, HSI. And he seemed as if he didn't know what HSI was. So fast forward, I just see a video from DL Hughley and it's more footage and that same, area, same neighborhood. And the cops pull up. Whatever agency the guy was from, I don't know, but he pulls up, and he's like asking questions. And so the black guy's kind of like, well, why are you here? Did somebody call you? And the law enforcement official goes, well, you haven't been watching the news. You don't know kind of what's going on. And the guy's like, no. And he goes, oh, well, President Trump is tired of the crime. So he's sending us out, in the neighborhoods or whatever. And when the guy was like, no, he didn't know what was going on. No, he didn't watch the news. It really just bothered me because we've got to do better. And I'm speaking to black people and black people only. So if you're not black, please don't come my comments with no answers or no comments. If your comment if you ain't supporting what I'm saying and you ain't black, don't come in here with that mess because I ain't trying to do that today. So it was upsetting because we have to do better. And the fact that the first guy didn't know who HSI was, second guy didn't even know why they were there, even though it had been talked about day before on socials. He did a whole press conference talking about what he was planning. He didn't know why they were even there. Guy smoking a cigarette on the porch. Cop proceeds to tell him, like, you're not even supposed to be smoking. I mean, thankfully, the cop was pretty nice and was trying to do some explaining. But it's pretty scary when y'all don't know what's going on and you're already breaking a law by smoking outside, which is a ridiculous law. However, when they're looking for a reason to come and get you, they gonna take any reason. And he got lucky that it was a guy who was like, kind of like, well, you're not supposed to do that out here, and kind of let it go. Because some of these cops are extremely overzealous and are waiting for any reason. Trump literally said in his press conference, he told the police they can do whatever they want, which means they have carte blanche to pop off anybody. So we have to do better as a people. We have to be watching the news, paying attention, and know what's going on because no one is coming to save us. And when we are ignorant to the laws, ignorant to our rights, ignorant to what's going on, it only puts us in more of a place of harm. The bottom line is, I understand everybody wasn't raised watching the news. My household, between 5 and 7, 8 o'clock, that's all you was going to see. I mean, it just was non-negotiable and it was going to be every night. So, of course, that made me be someone who I will go look at news sources. And I understand people may not have all been raised that way. However, we all have smartphones. You all have information at your fingertips. And if we can get on these stupid blogs and these gossip sites and everything else and talk about stuff, you can actually also use that phone to find information and make sure you are not getting put into situations that are harmful to you. There's no reason you can't have a news outlet, even if it's your local news station, as one of the people you're following and see what's going on in the world. We have to know what's going on because had y'all been prepared, you would have known they were coming to y'all neighborhood. Instead, they popped up on y'all, or you would at least been cautiously looking to see, and they popped up on y'all and then ended up taking, I want to say between 10 and 25, I don't remember the number, people to jail. So black people, we have to do better. We have to read books. We've got to watch news. We've got to know what's going on in the world. We have to vote. We have to do these things, and we've got to make the right decisions when we're voting. We've got to be aware so that we can protect ourselves. Because one thing I don't want to see is, because he's doing this, we now have people being that are innocent being unalived. We don't need this. And when you give certain people carte blanche, they run with it. Please do better, y'all. Please like, please comment, please share so that people are paying attention. Maybe it'll pop up on someone's For You page and y'all will pay attention to what's going on. Because he wants to do New York and Chicago on his radar as well. Everybody needs to be prepared. Protect yourselves, people, because it's serious out here.
Oh, but sit down, there's more. I'm on a roll tonight. Let's talk about the Trump administration placing the images of black men on the White House social media pages. So the Trump administration has just crossed another line, posting the mugshots of arrested black men on the official White House social media pages. Not one white man, not one non-black face. Did you know about that? Let's be clear. This isn't about transparency or public safety. This is about controlling the narrative. And I've been talking about that this week on social media, how they are allowing the media to be controlled about what you see, controlled about what you hear about, controlled about what you learn. We're literally having to say things like, what was that word that I've been hearing, or that phrase? Music festival? What about that one? Or what about the purses? You couldn't even say the other word again because you just may get suppressed. So let's be clear. It's about stoking fear and feeding into the age-old racist stereotype that black people are inherently criminal or dangerous. Because remember, this is the same guy that took out a 4-page ad on 4 innocent young black men. Yeah, that same guy. So this isn't a new tactic, folks. We already know that. This is not new. We're used to this. We already know how this is going to go. And here's the thing. We're going to have to watch very carefully how the media plays this out, because guess what? If you think he's not controlling the media, think again. I guarantee you this entire conversation that we're having right now won't even get 3,000 views. It won't even get 300. Because my information and other people who provide news and journalistic commentary and content is being suppressed. All right. Let's get back into it, shall we? Hang on just a second. So here's what they're doing. This is not about the concept that this is new, because we all know that it is not. This is about continuing to work on the continuous stereotype of the black male in this country, right? It's used to justify over-policing. It's also used to talk about mass incarceration, because we already know what that's all about, right? You remember the 13th Amendment, and you do know what that's about, right? Oh, okay. Just wanted to make sure. And that violent targeting of our communities for decades, that ain't new either. There's more. So by pushing these images out to the public on the White House page, that must make it real, right? That's got to make it real. Here's what's happening. They're shaping the perception and telling the nation who to fear. They want old white ladies to continue to clutch their purses in public and lock their doors, justifying future crackdowns. That's what they're doing too. I want you to understand that this is actually planting the seed that an increase in police and military presence in black neighborhoods is necessary. And they're distracting you guys from the systemic failure that we're all witnessing right now. You ever thought about that? You ever thought about what that means? So they're masking policy failures with the mess that we are seeing right now. Washington, D.C.'s crime rate is the lowest it's been in almost 30 years. It's down another 26%. The data and the numbers don't lie. But here's the issue. History is absolutely repeating itself. So this mirrors the exact same propaganda campaigns used to target Latinx and immigrant communities. And we're seeing that in real time, where they're just going around and they're just picking up folks. Doesn't matter who it is. We just go pick them up. That's what we're going to do. Yeah. Yeah. Now the focus is on black communities. And y'all, we have said that on social media. We have continued to say that on social media. From the beginning, we knew that our communities were next. Now, here's the end game. It's going to be expanded racial profiling. We already see that. Okay? Higher rates of police violence, without a word being said, and further erosion of our civil rights. You ever thought about that too? Because it's coming. Here's the reason why you should be alarmed and you should be hot as fish grease. Here's what starts with selective mugshot posts. that don't end there. Here's the issue. You're going to continue to see it. How dare you place their faces on there? But then this is the same administration that has somebody working their social media, and they're thinking that it's funny to go ahead and put images and video of people who are literally flipping out over what's happening with this current administration. So they're going to normalize racial bias, but we're not new to that, right? Desensitize the public. That's already been done, right? To disproportionate arrests and police violence. But see, that's already been done. That's already been done. Paving the way for harsher laws targeting specific communities under the guise of quote unquote safety. Because, we've seen it before. Now, what we can't do is ignore what's happening, okay? We do understand that the shift was always there. They're just bringing it to the forefront for everybody to see more and more and more. But again, y'all, this is not new information to this community, my black community, my black brothers and sisters. We already know what's up. Here's our call to action. Transparency. Full racial breakdowns of arrests, not selective publicity. Accountability. Demand answers from elected officials who remain silent. And we're seeing a whole hell of a lot of that, aren't we? And here's something else. Community defense. Support local advocacy groups documenting racial profiling and fighting back in courts and councils. Listen, racial profiling and police violence are about to spike, not just in DC. They're just making it quote unquote okay to do it. You should be made aware now if you have not already been. And here's the thing. If you have young black men in your home, if you have black men that you love, that you honor, that you respect, just know that we need to have those conversations with our young black men again. Mothers, daughters, sisters, grandmothers, aunties, just know. And it's not just about the black man, it's about the black folks, period. This is just a wake-up call. I will say this. Black folks, this is what you voted for. For those that were excited about this. You see how the press and you just get up in front of everybody and you just tell people what you want them to know and what to believe. And we believe it. How you feel about that? Because the next wave of policies are not done coming down. And you should be absolute.
Hello, brothers and sisters. Today we're going to dive into what's happening in Washington, D.C. right now. TikTok and other platforms have been buzzing with videos about policing, crime concerns, and the role of the National Guard, especially tied to the Trump administration's policies. This is an important conversation, and we're going to unpack it together, respectfully, thoughtfully, and without hate. Let's start with the bigger picture. Washington, D.C., historically known as Chocolate City, has long been a hub for black culture, activism, and community life. But over the years, we've seen rising crime rates, debates around safety, and a heavy presence of law enforcement. In recent months, videos online show increased concern among black residents about safety in their neighborhoods. People are asking, is policing actually protecting us? Or is it just adding more pressure on black communities? Now, we can't talk about policing in D.C. without mentioning the role of the federal government. Under President Trump, the use of the National Guard became a controversial topic, especially after protests in 2020. Videos are resurfacing now that remind people of when Trump called in the National Guard to D.C. in response to demonstrations. The Guard wasn't just for national security, they were deployed in communities, and many black residents felt this was militarization of their neighborhoods. The big question is, what message does it send when soldiers are standing where children play, or in front of local black-owned businesses? For some, it feels like protection. For others, it feels like occupation. And that tension is at the heart of the debate we're seeing online today. In recent videos, people in D.C. have been raising concerns about crime, things like carjackings, robberies, and violence involving young people. Some say that without strong policing, the situation could spiral out of control. Others argue that policing alone won't solve the root issues. Let's be clear, black communities want safety just like anyone else. Parents want to know their kids can walk home from school without fear. But if the only solution offered is more police or even the National Guard without addressing jobs, education, housing, and healthcare, then we're treating the symptom, not the disease. This isn't new. The black community in D.C. has faced policing challenges for decades. In the 1980s and 1990s during the crack epidemic, the city was heavily policed, and black men were disproportionately incarcerated. Fast forward to today, and many feel like history is repeating itself. What TikTok videos are capturing is that younger generations are noticing this pattern. They're asking why the government is quick to send troops, but slow to invest in community programs that prevent crime in the first place. Why spend millions on policing, but cut funding for schools or youth centers? These are fair and important questions. Here's where it gets tricky. Some DC residents, black residents included, do feel safer with a stronger security presence. If your block has seen repeated robberies, having officers nearby can be a relief. But others feel that over-policing leads to harassment, wrongful stops, and a breakdown of trust between law enforcement and the community. So the debate isn't as simple as police or no police. It's about balance. It's about whether security measures are done with the community or against the community. It's about respect, accountability, and fairness. When Trump brought in the National Guard, his framing was about law and order. He wanted to project strength and control. But many residents in DC, especially black residents, saw it differently. To them, it looked like their voices were being silenced with military force instead of being heard through dialogue. The leadership question is key. How do leaders respond to community needs? Do they bring in the Guard, or do they sit down with the community to find real solutions? We can't forget the human side of this. Behind every TikTok video is a real person. A young black man stopped and searched on his way home. A mother worried about crime near her child's school. A store owner wondering if they can keep their shop open safely. This isn't just politics, it's people's lives. And the conversation we're seeing online is really about dignity, respect, and the right to live in safe, thriving neighborhoods without fear of either crime or over-policing. So, what's the way forward? First, we need honest conversations that include the community, not just politicians or law enforcement. Second, investment in jobs, education, and youth programs is essential, because long-term safety comes from opportunity, not just enforcement. And finally, accountability is key. If police or National Guard are deployed, there must be systems to ensure they're protecting, not profiling. Community oversight, transparency, and trust building are crucial steps. Family, Washington, D.C. is a mirror of what many black communities across America face, torn between the need for safety and the need for justice. The debate about policing, crime, and the National Guard under Trump's leadership is more than politics. It's about the everyday lives of black people in the nation's capital. So let's keep this conversation going, respectfully and constructively. What do you think? Do you feel more police and even National Guard presence helps or harms? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and let's learn from one another. Thanks for watching. Until next time, goodbye.